And so I knew the next time I was going to preach, this was going to be the next sermon that I was going to put together. And since it deals with a little bit of geography, I figured having a map on the screen, since it's pretty easy to do that. A lot of times at the other churches, and what I did when I was an interim pastor at the churches, is I would just print off a bunch of maps and give it to people. But here it can be a little bit easier having it just on the screens here. But I appreciate being asked here. For some reason, I don't make titles very much these days. I guess I don't know why that is, but here you always need a title for the sermon. And so usually when I get here, I have to make up a title. So I have to think for a few seconds or minutes. And I think I actually think the title actually helps the sermon today or tonight. Moses' misunderstanding. That's what I came up with kind of in seconds. And it's true. Moses had a misunderstanding in Numbers chapter number 32. Thankfully, in this day and age, we never have misunderstandings of any sort whatsoever, right? Isn't that good? Yeah, that's the thing. That's for the old dispensation. That was for the dispensation of the law. In the dispensation of the church and grace, we never have misunderstandings anymore. I hope you know that I'm not being serious with that. We have a lot of misunderstandings. A lot. And it's a tough thing. It's not fun to go through misunderstandings, to be misunderstood. I feel like I'm 2 inches tall when I'm misunderstood. But by faith, you deal with it. Isn't it amazing that there are some people who are thought of as terrible, rotten human beings, and all it is a misunderstanding? It's sad. And we have a misunderstanding here, but thankfully, Moses turned. Moses recognized. Now, I don't know if Moses necessarily sinned against God in his misunderstanding. I don't know that. But he was forceful, and then he understood, and then he did change. And so that's a good thing. But let's see what the misunderstanding is here. Sick a few weeks ago, and I still am a little weak with this stuff. But Numbers chapter 32 and verse number 1. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place was a place for cattle. All right, now with this, I'm going to try to show you where that is. Okay, right now, here in Numbers chapter number 32, they are on the right side of the Jordan River. The Jordan River is right there, and it goes straight up north. So that's where they are at right now. They're all on the right side. They're getting ready. They have conquered the land on the right. And very shortly, about right here, they're going to cross the Jordan River. When they cross the Jordan River, what they have is they have the Ark of the Covenant, the priests, Levites, holding the Ark of the Covenant. And what they do is when they dip their feet into the Jordan River parts, just like it happened with the Red Sea. And so that was going to be the plan, and I showed you where they are supposed to be going through. But they have conquered. Now, when it comes to this geography, I try to be totally accurate with everything. And so sometimes always in the back of my mind, what if I'm saying it's not perfectly accurate? But anyway, sometimes I have to go with it because I don't know of anything else that's different. I do believe that everything on the right side of the Jordan River, which is toward the east, Israel has conquered all the land that they're supposed to conquer. They have not conquered anything on the other side of the Jordan River, which is the land of Canaan. And so that's where they're at. They have conquered everything on the right-hand side of the Jordan River. And so the children of Reuben and the children of Gad, and later the half-tribe of Manasseh, start to think to themselves, man, this land would be great for us. But they all basically thought that all of their land was going to be on the left side of the Jordan River. But they have conquered this land and thinking to themselves, man, let's stay here. This was not the plan, but we've conquered the land. The land is ours. It would be perfect for all of our cattle. And so that's what they want to do. Verse number 2, the children of Gad and the children of Reuben. I don't understand how this happened, but at the end of Numbers chapter number 32, also the half tribe of Manasseh also took land on the right side of the Jordan River as well. But here at the beginning, we don't see the half tribe of Manasseh, just Reuben and Gad. Reuben took the south side, Gad took the north side, and then Manasseh took the farther north side, if I'm accurate. There's the other slide that we can look at for a second. But the children of Gad, verse number 2, and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and unto the princes of the congregation, saying, Adaroth, Dibon, Jazer, and Nimrah, and Heshbon, and Elilah, and Shebam, and Nebo, and Beon. I don't know how accurate I was with those, but these cities, I don't know if any of them, I just looked at this map here tonight. We do have the land of Jazer. We see Jazer right there. And what I have read is most of these cities were basically right there in that area, all those cities that I just mentioned. Verse number 4, even the country with which the Lord smote before the congregation of Israel is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle. Wherefore said they, if we have found grace in thy sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession, and bring us not over Jordan. Okay? So, this could get a little hairy. Hey, Moses, we don't want to cross Jordan. We would just like to stay here. Now, Moses didn't like those words, the last part of verse number 5, and bring us not over Jordan. We're not going to cross with you all. We're going to stay here because we like this land. Verse 6. And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here? Now, God's plan for them when they left the land of Egypt was to go conquer the land of Canaan. That's what we always heard, the land of Canaan. Go and conquer that land. And so there's probably a lot of verses that I could use to show that they're supposed to go and conquer the land. One we'll look at right now, Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse number 8. That's just a verse that God gives to them to go and to conquer the land. Deuteronomy 11, verse 8. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that ye may be strong. Now I realize this is after, but there are sure other verses, I'm sure. That ye may be strong and go in and possess the land whither ye go to possess it. So go and possess this land. That's what they're supposed to do. So Moses' fear was that the children of Reuben and the children of Gad were going to shirk their responsibilities, and they were going to let all the other tribes go to war to defeat the Canaanites, but they themselves were just going to chill out on their side, starting their life before everybody else. That's what Moses' concern was, that your brethren are going to go to war and you're just going to sit here. Now, verses 6 through 15 remind me a lot of the book of Job. I don't know how knowledgeable you are about the book of Job. We often know the first part and we know the last part. But in the first part, you know that there's something going on between Satan and God. And Satan says to God, the only reason that Job is supportive of you, that worships you, is because you have greatly blessed him. So God says, okay, if you want to take some things from him, I have confidence in Job that he is going to be faithful to me. And so Satan does that. God gives him permission to attack Job. And everybody hears about all the terrible things that have happened to Job. Here we have a misunderstanding too with Job 3 three friends, and a younger man by the name of Elihu. They're made up in their minds, Job's not right with God. There's no way that this would be happening to Job if Job was right with God. So the middle part of the book of Job is all his three friends trying to convince Job that Job is not right with God, but Job is holding on to his integrity. Basically, I can say, you're not right with God. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. That's basically the middle part of the book of Job. And that's kind of what I see here a little bit. Moses is very afraid that the children of Reuben and the children of Gad are getting selfish, or they're not going to keep their word, or they're not going to keep the commandments of God. And so that is what Moses' fear is. Are you going to sit here while your brethren go to war? That sounds like a selfishness to me. It's a fear that they're being selfish. Verse number 7, and wherefore discourage ye the heart of the children of Israel from going over into the land which the Lord hath given them. So Moses' fear is that when all the other tribes are going to find this out, that Gad and Reuben want to stay on the right side of the Jordan River, then all of the other tribes are going to become full of fear about the battle that they need to fight against the Canaanites, and they're going to chicken out like they did at Kadesh Barnea. Now at Kadesh Barnea, that's when they sent the 12 spies, and only Joshua and Caleb were the ones that said, let's take the land. The other 10 says, man, these people are big. This is going to be tough. I don't think whether we should do it. And it discouraged the heart of all of the people of Israel, and because of that, God judged them. For another 39 years, they were going to wander in the wilderness. If you look at this map here, there is something interesting about this. As best as I can, I'll probably say that quite a bit. Egypt is over here, okay? Isn't it interesting that they ended up all the way over here? That was, I think, part of the judgment of God. I mean, if you're going to take a straight shot, you would just, pretty much go up Philistia, at least on the left side of the Dead Sea. But that's not what happened, and I think a lot of that has to do with what took place at Kadesh Barnea. That was the judgment of God on them. And so Moses brings that up to them in verse number 8. Thus did your fathers, when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up unto the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, that they should not go into the land which the Lord had given them. That was Moses' fear that's what's going to happen. Now with them, with what took place there at Kadesh Barnea, is they really struggled in their faith. They did not believe in the power of God. I think I preached that here once before, but let's go to Numbers chapter number 13. Just to read the first three verses of that text, because it's very clear in this text that God was going to give them victory over the Canaanites. I mean, sometimes we as Christians do things and, we don't have something solid biblical like this. We just do things by faith. But with them, in Numbers chapter 13, it was extremely clear God is going to give them the land of Canaan. Look at it. Numbers 13, verse number 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, okay, if the Lord is speaking here, we need to listen. They need to listen. What's God going to say? Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. That's very simple. Which I give unto the children of Israel. I mean, that's easy. I mean, you can bank on it. That is going to happen. And God said that, but they struggled with it. I am tempted to say, maybe if I was in the situation, I would think different. I have this promise which I give unto the children of Israel. Hey, if God's going to give it to us, then let's go up and let's take it. That was Moses' fear in Numbers chapter 32, that the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben were going to do the same thing. That basically this is going to be a replay of what took place at Kadesh Barnea. Let me finish verse number 2 of Numbers chapter 13. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord is involved with this, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. Okay, let's go back now to Numbers chapter number 32. Verse number 10, and the Lord's anger was kindled the same time, and he swears, saying, okay, God's anger, I don't want to use it like this, but God's anger was righteous. Now, we don't see God's anger in Numbers chapter 32. We see Moses' anger, but not God's anger. I don't think God was angry in Numbers 32. But Numbers 13 he was, but not Numbers 32. Because of the fact they gave the bad report about how big the guys were, how the cities were fenced in, and everybody got scared, and that wasn't what God wanted at all. Verse number 11, surely none of the men that came up out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me. So I can conclude that the land of Canaan, the left side of the Jordan River, nobody that was over 20 years old at the time of Kadesh Barnea was going to be able to cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan, including Moses, because of his judgment was striking the rock. But this was true. Shall see the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me. Verse number 12, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed the Lord. So they entered into the land of Canaan to fight against the Canaanites there. And obviously God was going to give them victory. But it was only Joshua and Caleb, that the ones that were over 20 years old at Kadesh Barnea, who were going to see the actual promised land, the land of Canaan. And the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was consumed. Realize that what took place at Kadesh Barnea was a huge historical event. That's why they had to wander as long as you did. Now, here is where Moses, I believe, I could call it Moses' presumption. That's what I have for verse number 14. Listen to Moses here, and I am going to be honest here. He went too far. That's why I say Moses is misunderstanding. Here's what he says to the tribe of Gad and to the tribe of Reuben, and later on, the half tribe of Manasseh gets involved with this. Moses says this, and behold, ye are risen up in your father's stead, an increase of sinful men. The truth is, I think I can conclude they were innocent. They were not being ungodly. To augment yet the fierce anger of the Lord toward Israel. Okay, I have a verse here that I forgot to mention a little bit earlier. It's an important verse to have. In fact, I want you to turn there. Proverbs chapter number 18. Proverbs and chapter number 18. It can be very frustrating to have a biblical conviction about this verse and see it not practiced a lot. I mean, it's going to be practiced by the unsaved, but it does bug me when Christians don't pass the test of this verse. But what can you do, Proverbs chapter 18, verse number 13, says, he that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. I always like to say, find out all of the facts before coming to a conclusion. So far what we see is that Moses has not, now let's go back to Numbers chapter 32. Moses has not heard the rebuttal from the people, from the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben. He hasn't heard that yet, but boy is he getting strong. He calls them a bunch of sinful men, basically, in verse number 14. But they were not being sinful. I can just see this has happened. Has this ever happened to you before? Where somebody's chewing you out or somebody's rebuking you? You say, yeah, just let me say something here. I can just see that happening. Moses, just settle down and let me tell you what it is that we're thinking. Okay? I can just see that happening, and there's a verse that kind of brings that up a little bit. But has that ever happened to you, where somebody is just like so upset? I recently heard at work, one of my coworkers, my boss. I have a good boss, but if you make him mad enough, he'll chew you out. Now, he's never chewed me out, thankfully. I don't know that he would. He can. We have a good relationship, but there's some guys where he knows he knows who's tough and who isn't, and so he can really give it to somebody who's tough because he knows that they can handle it. But one time somebody left on all the computers from the day before, and so he's really mad at this fella that I work with. His name is Chris, and so he gave him a good chewing. This fella's named Chris. So you know what Chris did? He just started laughing. You know why? Because he knows I wasn't here yesterday. And he just ignored it. And then the boss comes back to him and said, "Were you not here yesterday?" "No, I wasn't here yesterday." And so, chewing me out. And they're, like I said, they're both tough. They can all handle it. But and then the boss was like, he chewed him out for no reason. But, that's kind of what we're talking about here. Finding out all the facts first. He wouldn't have chewed him out if he knew that he wasn't even there the day before. And I can understand why Chris would laugh. It's kind of funny. He's getting chewed out for something he didn't do at all. He wasn't even there. But we do have to be careful about that. Most people are not. They're just not careful about that. But I do believe godly people find out all the facts before coming to a conclusion, because what does the Bible say in Proverbs chapter 18 and verse number 13? It says it's folly and it's shame unto him to come to a conclusion without gathering all the facts. So Moses calls the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad an increase of sinful men to augment yet the fierce anger of the Lord toward Israel. Now, verse number 15, I kind of referred to Job a little bit ago, and it's a good reason to do that, because if you read the book of Job, a lot of the things that the three friends and Elihu said to Job were 100% accurate. They just didn't apply to Job. If you know what was going on with Job is that God the Father gave permission to Satan to attack Job very powerfully. The three friends did not know that. Job didn't even know that. Elihu didn't know that. Nobody knew that except for the angels, God, and Satan. But the people did not know that. Now, I can be hard a little bit on the Job's three friends, even though there's no way they could have found out those facts. But they made fool of themselves. There's a reason that Job was attacked. And so here, Moses is saying a lot of things that are true. It just doesn't apply to Reuben and it doesn't apply to Gad, at least in this situation. Verse number 15, "For if ye turn away from after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and ye shall destroy all this people." Is that true? Yes, it is, but not in this situation. Verse number 16, "And they came near unto him." Now I find those words interesting. And they came near unto him. I don't know exactly what that means. Whether they had to come from a distance or whether they had to kind of get in his face. "Moses, listen!" And they came near unto him. Because I think they're trying, "Moses, pay attention, listen. We've got something to say. We're not a bunch of sinful men." Okay? I don't know if that's what it is, but I do find the words interesting. That they came near unto him and said, "Here's what we'll do. We will build sheepfolds here for our cattle." Remember, they're on the right side of the Jordan River. "And cities for our little ones." This is what we'll do. "But we ourselves will go ready, armed before the children of Israel, until we have brought them under their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities because of the inhabitants of the land. So basically, the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, as far as the women and as far as the kids, they're going to stay on the right side of the Jordan River. But the men are going to cross over with everybody else, and they are going to attack the Canaanites. They're going to conquer the land, and once the land is conquered on the left side of the Jordan River, they're going to go back on the right side of the Jordan River and join their family again. That was what their plan was. And that's what they needed to communicate to Moses. Verse 18, we will not return unto our houses until the children of Israel have inherited every man his inheritance on the left side of the Jordan River. For we will not inherit with them on yonder side Jordan, which means the left side of the Jordan River, also the west side of the Jordan River, or forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side Jordan eastward, the right side of the Jordan River. And Moses said unto them, okay, Moses can be commended here, okay? Moses gets it. He says basically, okay, I understand what you're talking about now. Verse 20. And Moses said unto them, if ye will do this thing, if you will go armed before the Lord to war, and will go all of you armed over Jordan before the Lord, until he hath driven out his enemies from before him on the left side of the Jordan River, and the land be subdued before the Lord, then afterward ye shall return to the right side of the Jordan River, and be guiltless before the Lord. So Moses gets it now. Okay, I understand. It's too late. He shouldn't have called them a bunch of sinful men. But now he has all the facts, and now he understands. And the land shall be your possession before the Lord. But if ye will not do so. Now, I don't know what else they will do. Maybe as they're fencing up their cities on the right side of the Jordan River, they become content and they take back what they said. Or they cross the Jordan and they fight against the Canaanites and they said, you know what? I don't want to do this. Let's go back over. If they do something like that. But if you will not do so, behold, ye have sinned against the Lord. Now, Moses is speaking the truth there. I do think it would have been sin for the tribe of Gad and for the tribe of Reuben and for the half-tribe of Manasseh to give up on the fight on the left side of the Jordan River. I do believe that would have been sin. And God would have punished them for that. When Moses says, be sure your sin will find you out, that is true. Now, as far as I can tell from a historical perspective, they did just that. In fact, let's look at it here for a second. I've got a few verses here in the book of Joshua that I picked out. Let's see. Let's go Joshua chapter number 1. Joshua chapter 1. And I'll read verses 12 through 18. Obviously, in Joshua, Moses has passed, and Joshua assumes command. Joshua chapter 1, verse number 12. And, I can start with verse number 10. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, pass through the hosts, and command the people, saying, prepare you victuals, for within 3 days ye shall pass over this Jordan, to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. There's a promise there. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half the tribe of Manasseh spake Joshua, saying, remember the word which Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, saying, looking back at Numbers chapter 32, saying, the Lord your God hath given you rest, and hath given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan, which is the right side of Jordan. But ye shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you. And they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God giveth them. Then ye shall return unto the land of your possession, the right side, and enjoy it, which Moses the Lord's servant gave you on this side Jordan toward the sun rising, which is the east. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us we will do. and whithersoever thou sendest us, we will go. According as we hearken unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Now this is the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad saying this. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of a good courage. So they're going to hold everybody accountable. They're going to hold the children of Reuben accountable. If they do not fight this battle, they will be put to death, even though their land is already secure. Let's go back to Numbers and chapter number 32. But it's an interesting thing to think about. To be sure that your sin will find you out. Now, what does that mean? I think it means that for them anyway, they will receive judgment if they decide to not to follow God. We know that God would judge Israel because he judged them at Kadesh Barnea. But with us is today, if we can bring this to us, I believe this verse does ring true today. Be sure your sin will find you out. We often use that verse to those private sins will one day be exposed. I don't on this earth. That may not be the case necessarily, but our sin does hurt us. Okay, we have unsaved people. Of course, they're going to pay for their sin for all of eternity. But with saved people, I believe that we can miss out on the blessing of God. Now, what is God's blessing? I think it's different than it was with Israel. With Israel, it was to inherit the land, okay? That's not the case with us, but we can miss out on many spiritual blessings if we do not follow the Lord. Our sin will find us out. And with the people of Israel, especially the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad, their sin will find them out if they do not do all that God wants them to do. All that God wants them to do. Verse number 24. Build you cities for your little ones, and folds for your sheep, and do that which hath proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spake unto Moses, saying, Thy servants will do as my Lord commandeth. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our cattle shall be there in the cities of Gilead, right side, and I think you think a little bit north as well. But thy servants will pass over, every man armed for war, before the Lord to battle, as my Lord saith. So according to history, the tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad did that exact same thing. So they had the land that they were fighting for on the left side of the Jordan River wasn't going to be theirs. But at the same time, they knew that they were fighting for their brethren. All right, there's a verse that I failed to mention here a little bit earlier. It's the verse. I'll just quote it here. Weep with those that weep, rejoice with those that do rejoice, and weep with those that weep. Okay, it talks about the close relationship between brothers and sisters in Christ. Okay, we are not to be selfish like Moses was afraid that the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben were doing. We are supposed to be there for others. No, like I said before, if you can think about it, that when these mighty men of valor of these 2.5 tribes crossed over the Jordan, they weren't necessarily going to participate in the blessing of the land that was on the left side of the Jordan River. But they loved their brethren, and they loved God to the point where they were willing to sacrifice this, and they were going to be faithful to God. I think there's some applications that we can make for there, pretty much to sacrifice ourselves for each other. The tribe of Reuben and the tribe of Gad wasn't going to inherit the land on the left side of the Jordan River, but they were going to go armed, fighting anyway, because the other tribes were their brethren. They were family, and they were going to fight for them. And they did just that. Verse 28, So concerning them Moses commanded Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, If the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over Jordan, every man armed to battle before the Lord, and the land shall be subdued before them. Then ye shall give them the land of Gilead, right side of Jordan, but for a possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. I find that interesting. So if they were not going to pass over armed, then they're just going to have possessions on the left side of the Jordan River. So really, a lot of it was the obedience of Reuben and Gad. If they're really going to do what they're going to do, then either they can have land with everybody else on the left side of the Jordan River, or they can have it on the right side of the Jordan River. But what they have to do first is they have to cross the Jordan River and fight for their brethren. Then they can have the blessing of everything that's on the right side of the Jordan River. And verse 31, and the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as the Lord has said unto thy servants, so will we do. We're going to fight for our brethren. Even though we may not necessarily participate in the blessing of it, we're going to fight for our brethren. We will pass over armed before the Lord into the land of Canaan, that the possession of our inheritance on this side Jordan may be ours. And Moses gave unto them, even to the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, and unto the half the tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, the kingdom of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, everything on the right side of the Jordan River, the land with the cities thereof, and the coast, even the cities of the country round about. And the children of Gad built Dibon, and Adaroth, and Aror, and Atroth, Shophan, and Jazer, and Jogbehah, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fenced cities, and folds for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Elialah, and Kirjathaim, and Nebo, and Baal-meon, their names being changed, and Shibmah, and gave other names unto the cities which they builded. And the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead, and took it, and dispossessed the Amorite which was in it. And Moses gave Gilead unto Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he dwelt therein. And Jair, the son of Manasseh, went and took the small towns thereof, and called them Havoth-Jair. And Nobah went and took Kenath and the villages thereof, and called it Nobah after his own name. So really, everything all worked out. It was their idea, hey, let's take the land that's on the right side of the Jordan River. We understand we have to cross the Jordan River with our brethren. We're going to fight. We're going to overtake the Canaanites. But once all the land is subdued, then we're going to go back to our land. So I think there's a few things that we can learn from this. One, Moses needed to hear everything before coming to an exact conclusion. But then we see the love of the children of Reuben and the children of Gad for their brothers. They sacrificed themselves, even though they were not going to participate in the blessing. You know, sometimes sacrificing yourself for somebody else, you're not going to get a blessing. You may not get a blessing, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. They went ahead and did it, and they were obedient to the Lord. So we can sacrifice ourselves for each other as well. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that you've given us today. Lord, may you give understanding into this text and the spiritual applications that we can make from it. And help us to live for you. I pray this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.